Coming up, we hike ice lakes in the Eagle Cap Wilderness in eastern Oregon. If you enjoy the video, please subscribe for more. Good morning, everybody. We are about to start a trail called Ice Lakes in the Wallowa Mountains, I believe, in eastern Oregon. These mountains are insanely beautiful, so we're pretty excited to get in here. It's about 15 miles round trip. I believe around 3,500 feet elevation gain, so a nice day today. Should be good anyways. We'll check in, same thing every mile, kind of give trail updates along the way, and yeah, we're excited. At the start of this trailhead, there is a wilderness registration that you must fill out before entering the Eagle Cap Wilderness. The start of this trailhead can be a bit confusing with multiple different intersections in the first mile. I would definitely recommend downloading a map of the trail. We are 1 mile in here. Trail's pretty nice, pretty flat so far. I would say it's on the easier side. This first mile was pretty quick. It does fork quite a few times, so be sure and download like All Trails or some sort of map. We use Onyx and All Trails. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. It did snow last night, so we're kind of curious to see what the top looks like, but we'll check in around mile 2. The first mile winds you along the banks of the West Fork Wallowa River with intermittent views of the surrounding mountains, and gaining around 300 feet per mile. These miles were fairly easy, and we moved pretty quickly through the forest. Approaching mile 2. It's really the first 2 miles have been pretty quick. We're here under 50 minutes, so pretty flat. Few small like inclines. I guess I would put it on the easy scale. So for us, that's like anything from like 0 to 500 feet in the first, or in 1 mile, I would consider like easy. Anything 5 to 700 is more moderate, and then like 700 plus, like 1,000 feet per mile, like that's pretty steep for us. But yeah, this is definitely on that easier side. The river's raging right next to me. I'm sure you can hear it. The views are kind of starting to open up a little bit, but we're excited. This place is epic. I like it a lot so far. So we'll check in around mile 3 and give you an update. A little bit of snow. And life. The second mile is a lot like the first, winding along the riverbank. I will say the views start to open up during this mile. You gain about 300 feet in elevation here as well. Mile 3. We just came across it was a pretty sketchy bridge, not gonna lie. You get about halfway across and it's a little wobbly, but we made it through. The last mile, again, pretty easy. That 0 to kind of 500 feet per mile elevation gain, so nothing too crazy. But that just means we probably got a grind ahead of us. So we'll check in around mile 4. The views are really starting to open up here. There's wildflowers popping up all over the place. It's a beautiful day. We'll check in around mile 4. When you get to mile 3, you start to climb away from the river and start along the switchbacks up to the lake. This is where you start to get some epic views. You gain about 600 feet during this mile. All right, we are 4 miles in. The views have opened up. This place is really incredible. The last mile is probably, I would say, up on the 500 feet per mile probably. Once again, like easy, moderate, nothing too crazy. You start kind of switchbacking. Still just a nice and steady incline. It's just really a pleasant hike so far. So we're looking forward to the next few miles. We'll check in around mile 5. Mile 4 had some of my favorite views. You really get an appreciation for where you are. Towards the end of the mile, you start another set of switchbacks and a small boulder field. You gain around 600 feet during this mile. All right, we are at mile 5. And these views are just incredible. The last mile's kind of been like that pretty much the whole way up. So it's just been, we've been nerding out over the views. We've never been in here before, so this is all very new to us, and it's really been a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun. I think the wife's having fun. I got to catch up to her. But the last mile, pretty much the same as the mile before and the mile before that. It's been pretty easy. It's been like 500 feet just every mile, steady gain. Yeah, it's been a very pleasant hike so far. I really like this place. Really like this hike. We got a few more miles to go, and we'll check in around mile 6. Mile 5 was also a very scenic mile. You get your first look at ice falls and cross into a beautiful alpine meadow. You also finish the first set of switchbacks and begin the second set during this mile. You gain about 500 feet elevation. Insane. This is mile 6. We got alpine meadows, epic views. It's just an incredible hike so far. We should be about 1.5 miles from Ice Lakes. That last mile, same as the first mile, just nice, steady. It's been really great so far. We hit a waterfall, that was really nice. I think you saw in the last videos. Yeah, so we'll check in about mile 7, and then after that, we should be at the lake. We are taking a little snack break. Check out the view. Mile 6 had some of the most expansive views of the valley below, as you take a set of switchbacks up with great views of the mountain around. Some of the switchbacks are halfway exposed, so you get a real view of where you're at. You gain around 700 feet during this mile. This is mile 7. We are, I believe we're coming out of the very last switchbacks here before we top out and get to the lake. So the last mile, these miles have been flying by super fast. Like I've said before, it's pretty just kind of steady the whole way up. And yeah, we'll check in when we get to the lake. Once you hit mile 7, you finish the last set of switchbacks, and it's a straight shot to the lake. This section is a lot like the first 3 miles, very flat and easy. We have made it. Nice lake. Check it out. Crazy views. Just so insane. Epic hike. Worth every step. We're gonna go down here, probably eat a snack. Take a lot of pictures, I'm sure, and we'll check in here in a bit. We just finished up taking some photos. We're gonna unfortunately start the journey back down. This lake is just incredible, totally worth it. I mean, our rating scale is pretty high, but I rate this one a for sure a hard 9. So just epic, epic, epic. Hike was long, but not terribly steep. So I think it's a pretty moderate hike for me, really. It was pretty easy. So we'll probably won't film too much going back down. Definitely won't do any check-ins, but we'll check in when we get back to the car. Probably shoot a few videos on the way down, and we'll see you back at the car. And we are back to the trailhead. This was a great day. This hike had everything. It had wildflowers, had alpine meadows, epic mountain views. It had alpine lakes, and the downhill and uphill really weren't terribly bad. The distance was a little long, but other than that, it was 9 out of 10 hike for us. I think, right? Yeah. She says yes. 9 out of 10. But we're back to the car now. And we'll see you guys on the next one.